One of the best postseason pitchers in baseball makes his home in San Francisco. Madison Bumgarner is only 25, and already he's got 3 rings. Tonight, the Marlins stare down at the Giants ace, whom they've handled in the past. We've got Marlins and Giants on Late Night with a Fish. San Francisco on an early, crisp evening. The Giants and the Marlins get ready for Game 3, AT Park. Another sellout. They have been selling out for some time here tonight. Another one. Casey McGee, the hero last night. Madison Bumgarner night tonight. David Phelps gets the call for the Fish. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton on this road trip in Washington, now in San Francisco. Miami has run into quality arms, maybe none better than Madison Bumgarner tonight.
Well, I tell you what, Rich, a lot of energy in this ballpark tonight, and I think a lot of the people, a lot of the Giants fans certainly came to see Bumgarner tonight.
He's a guy, obviously, that has had a great run as a Giant, 3 rings, and he pitches his best in the postseason.
You know, the amazing thing about Bumgarner, here's a guy that's just 25 years old, and he's accomplished so much already. An MVP in the World Series, the Championship Series. He threw a lot of innings last year. 270 innings if you add his postseason totals. This guy's one of the best. He's coming off a terrific outing against San Diego. He's very deceptive with his delivery. Tough guy to hit.
T-Mobile game changer. The resume stretches. We could actually put about 4 or 5 pages up there of all the things that this guy has accomplished in his career. If you were to ask someone who has been the most effective starter in Miami's rotation, I don't know that they would pick David Phelps. But when you look at the numbers, Tommy, as a starter in his 4 starts, he's been outstanding.
You know, when the Marlins acquired David Phelps, they knew they had a guy who was very versatile out of the bullpen or as a starter. Tonight he's making his first ever appearance against the San Francisco Giants. However, I did a little research against the Oakland A's over on the other side of the bay. He has never given up an earned run in 3 games, one of those a start. So he has pitched well in the area.
Also making an appearance tonight, cold weather gear. It's chilly tonight. The Marlins and the Giants a game apiece so far in what has been an entertaining series. On a Saturday night in San Francisco, we got Game 3. And underway in San Francisco. And the first pitch fastball is a strike. Pitch Penny brings you that first pitch. Christian Yelich, Martin Prado, Giancarlo Stanton for Miami against Bumgarner, who makes start number 7. Still some bright sunlight out there in center field, which won't make facing Bumgarner early any easier.
Yeah, I think these earlier starts an hour earlier out here on the West Coast, I think it's a little tough, that first AB.
Yelich takes outside for Christian Yelich, activated yesterday, and he steps in against a guy, Tim Lincecum, that he doesn't have a hit against. Lincecum, as a result, was an 0 for 4 for Yelich. And here's Bumgarner, one of the tougher lefties, obviously, that the game has. But Yelich has always hit well against lefties. And he fouls that one back over the screen.
Well, a perfect example of that, Rich. Last year, Christian Yelich, a .317 hitter against left-handers.
There are his career splits. Count 1 and 2. And Yelich, a bouncer out towards second. Joe Panik sweeps it on over to first. And there is one out. JM Lexus brings you Miami's lineup. You've seen Yelich in the top spot. Martin Prado is at third base. Giancarlo Stanton in right. Marcell Ozuna having a nice series. JT Realmuto has hit line drives all over AT&T Park. Doesn't have a hit in the series. Jeff Baker a start against the lefty. Michael Morse is back in there. Adeiny Echeverria is at short. And David Phelps hits ninth. By the way, D. Gordon has taken a few steps in improvement. And with the tough lefty on the mound, Mike Redmond decided to give him one more day off. Good possibility he's in there tomorrow against Ryan Vogelsong.
Yeah, he did most all baseball activities today. Ran some, took batting practice, took ground balls.
Martin Prado, 3 hits in this series. He's 3 for 8, and he has a whopping 29 at bats against Bumgarner. Of course, Prado in his short stay in Arizona in the National League West, and a few matchups as an Atlanta Brave as well. Back to the screen, and it's 1 and 2.
Not only does Madison Bumgarner have terrific stuff, and we've talked about that. He's won 70 games, and he's just 25, and then all the postseason accolades. But he has that easy delivery, and he's very hard to pick up. He turns, hides the ball really well.
It's amazing to think he's still just 25. He got to the big leagues at the age of 20 back in 2009. There's his scouting report.
Look at all the innings he pitched last year. A postseason MVP in the Championship Series and the World Series. There's that easy and deceptive delivery.
Prado gets a piece, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Just underway in San Francisco. Chilly night. Temperatures mid-50s. Probably will get down into the upper 40s with a pretty healthy wind tonight. That wind right now going from right out towards left. 2-2 coming. Prado knocks it into center field for a base hit. Martin Prado just keeps on hitting.
Yeah, he keeps his average over 300 with that base hit. Let's check on the Giants defensively. Nori Aoki in left field. Angel Pagan, Justin Maxwell. Maxwell's had a nice series. Casey McGee in there at third. Brandon Crawford, Joe Panik up the middle. Brandon Belt is on fire at the plate. And Buster Posey behind the plate.
Giancarlo Stanton, matchup-wise, Stanton has been outstanding against Bumgarner. 8 for 13 with a homer, and Bumgarner throws a strike on the inside corner for strike 1. It's 0-1. There's the career numbers. Stanton against the lefty Bumgarner, going without the mask. He's done that against lefties, not against righties, and that breaking ball comes in on him.
Yeah, that's a hard slider cutter that Bumgarner uses.
Stanton's driven in 2 in the series. Had a good night in game 1. The sacrifice fly and an RBI single. And that is fouled back.
Oh, and that was a good swing by Giancarlo.
This was last year in July.
Looked like he tried that backdoor cutter, and it floated over a little bit more of the plate than he wanted. And Giancarlo floated it out.
He put on a great show in batting practice, as he always does, but more so here, it seems, in a ballpark where the ball doesn't carry all that well, and it's a big park. Stanton was going up on the concourse above the seats in left field. One and two. Bumgarner really has slowed the pace with Prado at first. And he gets Stanton on a very nice breaking ball.
We've seen the 2 different breaking balls, the cutter, and then that was the curveball. Speed-wise, different. He buries it down and in, which he tries to do to right-handed hitters, and he gets Giancarlo this time.
Marcell Ozuna now. We talked about Ozuna at the outset of the telecast. 2 hits in game 1, 2 hits last night, a double last night, and a homer on Thursday night. Prado's away from first. Ozuna takes a strike. Mike Molinsky's calling balls and strikes. Mike Winters at first. Mark Wegner at second. Marty Foster is at third base.
Tell you the other thing about Bumgarner, his last 2 starts, he's really put it together. Last 2 starts, he's gone 15 in the 3rd innings, given up just 7 hits in a run, 15 strikeouts, only 2 walks.
And he had a no-hitter into the 7th against the Padres. He ended up going 7 in a 3rd, gave up 2 hits and no runs his last start. Impressive stuff for Madison Bumgarner. One and two. In the air. That's a long run. Maxwell dives, and he got it. In fair territory, Justin Maxwell makes a terrific run-saving catch. Scoreless ball game, bottom of the first. Nori Aoki, Joe Panik, and Angel Pagan for the Giants against David Phelps. Phelps starts out with a strike. Look at his season into the rotation with the injury of Henderson Alvarez, and he's been outstanding as a starter.
He really has, and he's stepped up at a time when the ball club needed somebody to step up when Henderson Alvarez went down.
As he told Jessica on Marlins Live, sort of self-grading his efforts as a starter, he thinks the best thing that he's doing is attacking the strike zone. Roller up the middle. Baker tested right out of the chute, and he gets the out at first base. Giants lineup is brought to you by J.M. Lexus. Aoki in the leadoff spot. Joe Panik at second. Angel Pagan in center. Buster Posey the catcher. Brandon Belt is just tearing it up right now for the Giants. Justin Maxwell is in right. Brandon Crawford's at short. Casey McGee back in the lineup in the 8th spot, and Bumgarner is a dangerous bat in the 9 spot. Here's Panik, and he takes a strike.
By the way, Rich, there's a lesson to be learned in listening to that comment of David Phelps attacking the strike zone. There are guys who throw 96 that don't attack the strike zone.
Panik to left. No panic from Yelich. Look at Yelich, got the eye black going.
Well, early in the game, still a little sunshine. There's Christian Yelich. You know he's in left. Ozuna and Stanton filling out the outfield. Echeverria and Jeff Baker. You saw Baker go to his right, make a nice play. Prado and Michael Morse at the corners, and JT Real Muto.
Now Pagan, there are some hitters in this Giants lineup that are hot. Pagan is not one of them. He's won for his last 14. Still, he's hitting at 322. Last night, Buster Posey, Brandon Belt, Justin Maxwell in the 4, 5, 6 spot in the Giants order had a field day. Eight hits combined. Belt had 4 of them. And Phelps walks back off the mound.
We've talked about Angel Pagan last couple of years. He's had various injuries. Under 100 games each of the last 2 years.
Did not play in the postseason last year.
But in 2012, a fantastic year for Bruce Bochy.
And a very nice postseason. Had a couple of big home runs in that 2012 World Series run. 1-1. And it's in. T. Gordon not in the lineup with Bumgarner the lefty, and Mike Redmond wanting just one more ball game to give that hamstring a rest. This is not a bad game to give him a rest and get a right-handed bat in there in Jeff Baker. There's Gordon.
He's ready. I know you and I both had a chance to chat with him during batting practice.
Looks like he's ready for the lift line. Ski resort. Good fastball by Phelps at 91 miles an hour. Everybody bundled up. Marlins, Giants, 43,000 who are here tonight. Baker backhands, and he's not going to get Pagan, who runs very well.
Bake's out there saying, hey, let me have a routine play to get me ready. But I don't think any second baseman really make this play because of the way Pagan runs. By the time Bake was able to get something on the throw, Pagan beat it out easily.
That'll get Posey an at-bat. Miami couldn't get Posey out last night. He was 2 for 2 with 3 walks and scored 3 runs. He's hit in 10 of his last 11. So now you get into the run of hitters for the Giants that are hot. .375 clip over those 11 games for the former MVP. Hit hard. Echeverria has it and flips to Baker to get the outs. Nice inning from David Phelps. This game is underway, an inning in, scoreless. Friday the 15th, 7:10. It's the Braves and the Marlins. You can purchase 70 night package at marlins.com special events. Get a ticket, 70s night t-shirt, meet and greet with Greg Brady from the Brady Bunch. And enjoy a post-game fireworks show presented by Bacardi. And no, Marcia will not be in attendance. Still trying to get Peter and Bobby, but right now it's Greg Brady. JT Realmuto for the Marlins. And Realmuto swings and misses. Quickly it's 0-2. Jeff Baker will follow. Then Michael Morse against Madison Bumgarner in San Francisco in the second inning. Realmuto does not have a hit in the series, but he has swung the bat well. And I know there's many people out there that say, well, look, if he doesn't have a hit, he hasn't swung the bat well. But if you watch the game, you know that Realmuto's hit the ball hard. He's hit the ball at people. Frank Menachino, Marlins hitting coach today, talking about that. Check swing. Oh, he went, says Mike Winters. And Realmuto head down, heads back to the dugout. Frank Menachino said that Realmuto in his short time here has more line drive outs than anybody. That's close.
That's a close one, but it's one you usually see called a strike.
Here is Jeff Baker. It's a foul tip for a strike. And it's 0-1. Not sure what it hit, but you can see the home plate umpire, Mike Malinsky, immediately signal a foul tip. That drops in for a strike. 0-2.
You watch Bumgarner, you don't see 97. See him drop in that cutter, some curveballs, his fastball. He'll spot that in and out. And actually, for the Giants, he's extremely affordable.
Jam shot. Baker rolls it to third. McGee across the diamond. Bumgarner getting 2 quick outs here in the second.
The Giants locked him in a couple of years ago to a 6-year contract. Goes through 2017. A little over $35 million total. So for what he's done on the mound, he's been extremely affordable.
Michael Morse now.
Even at gas prices in California, that's a bargain.
Here's Morse. Last night an 0 for 2. He walked twice last night. And I think the line drive hits to right in game 1 and the walks last night, an indication that Morse is starting to come out of what has been a cold spell for him to start this 2015 season.
A couple of hits in his career, 2 for 8 with a home run against Bumgarner.
Bumgarner has such a slingshot, whip it release. That ball really gets in on right-handed hitters quickly.
Yeah, if you can picture, of course he's right-handed, totally different, but and a different body type now that I think about it. But we talk about Bartolo Colon, the dart thrower, short arm, and Bumgarner's the slinger. He's just the opposite. Probably the first time Bumgarner's ever had a Bartolo Colon analogy.
Comparison. It works, though. I like it because it's a great contrast. Morse, a swing and a miss.
Very free and easy, turns, hides the ball, and then here it comes. A lot of good drive from that lower half.
And he throws it by Michael Morse. And Miami is down in order in the second. Let's go down to Jessica Blaylock. Jessica?
Well, Rich, a little bit of an earlier start to the game tonight. You talked about the sun possibly being a factor. That was the case in right field. Giancarlo Stanton actually ran onto the field and then almost immediately ran back into the dugout. He actually had to borrow Jeff Mathis's sunglasses, so that sun a little bit of a factor in this game right now.
It is. The sun still darting in and out behind the clouds as night creeps up in San Francisco. Brandon Belt swings and fouls it back and out of play. Brandon Belt is one hot hombre right now. As you see to the east, looking east and now looking south as you pan over the right field wall. Little tapper. Phelps has it, and the Marlins have retired Brandon Belt.
I like the way David Phelps went after that. Didn't panic. He knew once that ball was hit off the end of the bat that it wasn't going to be a play for his catcher. So once he got there, he took his time. Knew he had some time with Belt going up the line. Calmly made the play.
Giants winners last night. Even their record at 15-15. Miami dropped back 2 under at 14-16. Phelps with a fastball misses up. Justin Maxwell had a nice night last night. Maxwell drove in a couple. Had 2 hits and a walk. 31-year-old outfielder. That's right center. Stanton is out there, glasses and all. And you can see the sun on those glasses as he looks up and makes the catch.
So I guess you could say Jeff Mathis gets an assist on that.
Without a doubt.
I'll tell you what, if you had told Bruce Bochy at the beginning of the year or even in spring training that here we are in May and your leading RBI guys are Brandon Crawford and Justin Maxwell,
he would be surprised, and I'll bet you he would be happy that the Giants were at 500 at 15-15. Ozuna back at the track, makes the catch, and a 1-2-3 inning for David Phelps, scoreless. And by AutoNation, save on over 70,000 vehicles now. Visit AutoNation.com. In San Francisco, Madison Bumgarner and Adeiny Echeverria takes ball 1. Echeverria, David Phelps, Christian Yelich. The Giants left-hander has struck out 3. He's allowed just 1 hit, a Prado single.
I saw some good notes on Adeiny Echeverria today as far as major league shortstops. He's #1 in hits. He's #2 in runs scored and #2 in RBIs and 4th in batting average. That's amongst major league shortstops. Not to mention playing Gold Glove defense.
And on the road, Echeverria is over 400. Yonder Alonso and Yasmani Grandal, the two Miami Hurricanes.
Yeah, tough break for Yonder Alonso's having a strong year. He had to go on the disabled list. Diving for a ball, a shoulder injury.
Marlins will see Grandal in all his grandeur in Los Angeles.
They will not see Yasiel Puig.
Re-injured his hamstring in a minor league game yesterday. 2-2 coming. And Echeverria lifts it foul and back out of play. Another 2-2. That breaking ball comes so far. It starts almost on the outside part of the plate and ends up in your right hip pocket.
Somehow, Etch was able to get out of the way, too.
Look at that. Barely registered on Fox Tracks. 3-2. Struck him out. Fastball. Echeverria looks back. Doesn't like it. Fourth strikeout. And it looked like it just caught.
Yeah, it's a borderline pitch, but it's certainly close enough, and just a perfect pitch from Bumgarner.
It's where it crosses the front of the plate.
It's what he did all postseason.
Boy, not only as a starter, but that great relief appearance. The longest save in World Series history, Game 7 against Kansas City.
Giants signed him out of high school. Went to high school in North Carolina.
I'm guessing that Jack McKeon saw him pitch a little bit in high school. And
we got to remember the next time we see Jack to ask him.
He was headed to North Carolina, but signed. He would have pitched on the same staff as Rick Porcello and Matt Harvey. Can you imagine that? Your weekend rotation going into a series in the ACC?
I would say you'd probably start with Harvey, then come with Bumgarner and have Porcello on Sunday.
Phelps takes a called third. And sure, the flurry of music was in honor of Bumgarner's fifth strikeout, apparently. But hey, we'll stick around for Christian Yelich.
But you and I were talking before the game. Tough assignments for Christian Yelich coming back, being activated after spending time on the disabled list, facing a guy last night who he'd really struggled against in Tim Lincecum. Then he gets a tough left-hander in Bumgarner tonight.
Yelich bounced to second in the first. Breaking ball is out. And it's 2-0.
I think one of the reasons Yelich has always hit lefties well, he has good knowledge of the strike zone, and if you watch lefties against lefties, they get them to chase a lot of stuff off the plate. And I think his ability to go the other way also helps him against left-handers.
And I think if you're watching for signs that Yelich is going to start to pull out of it, it'll be that he'll start to walk a little bit. Three and one. That's something he's always done at any level, including in the major leagues. And it's out, and that's a great example of it. Yelich's on-base percentage last year was .362 to go with a batting average of .284. And so he walks against Bumgarner, just the seventh walk. And this is the seventh start 7th walk that Bumgarner has allowed this season. And here's Prado. And of course, Yelich, you forget with D. Gordon being at the top of the lineup and all the focus on his speed, Yelich has good base stealing speed as well. Swiped 21 bags last year. Oh, 0-1 to Martin Prado. The Giants rotation has been one of the constants in the 5-year run, which has yielded the 3 World Series championships. And it seems like every guy in the rotation has had a spell where he was the horse, right? I mean, Lincecum early, Kane.
Hey, a few years ago it was Ryan Vogelsong.
Yeah.
Who the Marlins see tomorrow.
Prado, it's a fair ball, and Yelich racing for second. Ball hits the railing. Yelich to third. Butler will send him, and he'll score. Was it touched by a fan?
Boy, that's unfortunate.
It was.
Because either way, if it kicks out and stays there, Yelich scores. If it goes into the corner, Yelich scores. So that's just a bad break. With the fan touching it, he has to hold up at third base.
Here's a look, and let's see if it hits the hand of the guy in the black.
Yeah, right there. Boy, that's just a tough break.
And here is Stanton now. It is, especially with the 2-out jump and the speed of Yelich. You would have liked to have seen that play out.
Boy, have to see if, and as I get ready to say that, he sees a first pitch strike. But with first base open and with the numbers Giancarlo's put up there against Bumgarner, curious to see how he pitches it.
They are escorting that fan out. The one that reached over and touched the ball and interfered with it.
It's an expensive touch.
Stanton pops it up. Posey looking up. Tosses the mask. And he can't get it. And he didn't get much help from Casey McGee. That ball blew with the wind all the way from behind home plate up the line at third.
Well, a couple of things. Casey's playing very deep at third base, so he had a long way to go. You used to see this on a regular basis at Candlestick.
Meanwhile, Bumgarner's out in front of Stanton 0-2. And a swing and a miss at a high fastball. And Stanton has struck out twice tonight. well behind it, almost as if he didn't see it all that well. And a strikeout for Bumgarner, his 6th already.
We've seen a few patterns in pitchers going after Giancarlo. Most of them have stayed in, and ones that have a little something extra will go up and try to get him to chase it the way Bumgarner did on that last pitch.
So David Phelps will try to keep matching outs with Bumgarner. Casey McGee, Bumgarner himself, and Aoki for the Giants. And McGee takes a strike. Giant fans wondering when McGee was going to bust loose, and he did last night. With 2 hits, the grand slam.
You know, even the 2 balls that Casey McGee hit into double plays, he hit right on the nose.
One, 2. Bryce Harper did it again today. Another walk-off homer. This one to beat the Atlanta Braves.
Boy, just incredible. Just incredible. Bryce Harper, Rich, in his last 3 games is 8 for 13 with 6 home runs and 12 RBIs.
Two. McGee up the middle. Echeverria is there. And he throws him out. AT&T Rewind brought to you by AT&T Uverse. More live TV channels on the go than cable. And just to remind you that Madison Bumgarner can swing the bat. 2 grand slams. This is a guy that has homered 6 times in his career. And a swing and a miss. It is 0-1.
He's off to a slow start this year. Just 1 for 13, but boy, you see the 6 home runs and 4 last year.
Tough to get out of that slump when you only get 3 at bats every 5 days.
Yeah, I think the only other pitcher to hit 2 grand slams in 1 year was Tony Cloninger, and he did it in the same game.
I was going to say Ken Brett.
Ken Brett homered in 4 consecutive starts.
That's pretty impressive.
That's impressive. He used to say he'd give hitting tips to his younger brother, George.
George has always maintained that Ken was a better hitter than he was.
George used to say the best athlete in the Brett family was Ken.
Had an honor to not only work for Ken Brett, but also call a game with him before he passed. And that was a big thrill.
Terrific guy. We were teammates 1 year. Ken Brett was in my wedding.
Really?
Yeah.
Real Muto took that one. One, 2. Popped up. Now remember, it's windy, and it goes from Morse to Baker, back to Morse, and Morse makes the catch.
Yeah, all you have to do, and you need to do it, especially every inning, because it can change, but you check the flags. And Michael Morse knows. He was here last year, so he knows it can change. He knows what it's going to do to a pop fly.
Nori Oki for the Giants. Japanese outfielder. Marlins saw a lot of him in 2012 and 2013 with the Brewers. He played a lot of games for the Brewers. In 2012, 151 games, 155 in 2013. He was on base a lot, a lot of stolen bases. Last year in Kansas City. This is a guy who's got a career on base percentage in the big leagues at over 350.
I tell you the number I like with Aoki. He came into this year career-wise 144 strikeouts, 141 walks. And he's pretty similar on pace to that this year. 14 strikeouts, 12 walks.
This is going to be a tough play. He can run, and it'll be a hit.
As a kid, when he was growing up imitating Ichiro, he saw Ichiro get a few of those.
Slash and dash.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Once it got over the head, the only player that's going to have a chance is if that doesn't go deep enough and if the pitcher can get it. But once it goes beyond Phelps and out toward the infield, Aoki is going to beat that out every time.
And you would think here with 2 outs and panic up, Aoki is a threat to run. He's swiped 8 bases, has been caught twice. Phelps, thinking along those lines, chases him back. Hot smash. Baker to first in time. And David Phelps has been sharp in this one. Scoreless to the 4th. What's Will doing out there? That's a much bigger boat than we saw the other night.
It's just a thrill.
Toyota Trend in this ballpark is hitting 8 of 9 and a .354 average with damage. And this would be Ozuna's second AB against Madison Bumgarner. There's the damage, the 3 doubles, the 2 homers, and 8 driven in. That is your Toyota Trend. And that one is crushed left center field and deep and gone. And Marcell Ozuna's second homer of the season, his second homer of the series, gives Miami a 1-0 lead.
Boy, speaking of Toyota trends, it's a nice trend that Ozuna has gotten on. Only the 4th home run that Bumgarner's allowed this year, and you don't have too many no-doubters here at AT&T, but as soon as that left the bat, you knew it was out. See what their pitch was. Looked like a fastball, didn't get in all the way, and when you're a hot hitter, Ozuna attacked it.
No silent treatment for this one. And here is JT Realmuto. So Ozuna's bat is heating up. That's his 5th hit of this series.
They let the bear loose.
Real Muto struck out back in the second. It's been a tough series, as we noted. He's 0 for 9 with a bunch of hard hit balls. Breaking ball for a strike. And it's 2-1. It's the 4th homer that Bumgarner has allowed. Oh, what the Kansas City Royals would have given for one of those late in Game 7.
Yeah, not the way he was throwing.
No.
Bumgarner threw over 52 innings, 52 2/3 innings in the postseason.
Which is the residual effect of that, added upon a full season's workload of 33 starts. All of a sudden, you've got guys who do pitch in the World Series, who are their team's ace, that are throwing up around 250, 260 innings.
Which used to be more the norm, but not over the last few years. Yeah, I was just thinking about Real Muto. You're talking about how he's hit the ball hard, but just has come up empty. And one of the hardest things to do when that's happening is to stay the same, because you think you have to do something different to get a base hit. And he's doing all the right things. He's squaring up a lot of balls.
He's knocked a few off of Posey here, fighting off 2 strike pitches. In and around the concourse before first pitch, there were a lot of fans who were huddled and watching television. They were watching their Golden State Warriors playing Memphis. Game 3 of their NBA playoff series. It's tied at a game apiece. Pitch in the dirt. No swing, and the count's full at 3-2. The last time the Golden State Warriors won an NBA championship, Rick Barry was in uniform, shooting free throws underhanded. And that is in. Real Muto is on his way down to first. Saturday Spectacular coming up. Remember, it's a 1 o'clock start next Saturday, week from today. Get all you can eat seats for just $35. After the game, enjoy a post-game concert on the West Plaza. British pop star Charlie XCX, presented by Pepsi. Go to Marlins.com for tickets. What day is it and where are we? It's San Francisco, and it's Saturday. And it's 1-0 Miami, and here's Baker. Baker shortens the bunt, takes outside.
Well, you don't see Jeff Baker do that too often, but he kind of took a peek and saw where Casey McGee was playing him. Thought, you know what, if he's going to give me that, just try to drop one down.
Well, at the very least, it shortens.
Now McGee's come up a few steps.
Yeah, it shortens the infield up. It gives you a chance to pull one through the left side of the infield. Been a while since Baker's bunted to move a runner back in 2008. He would have been a Colorado Rocky at that point. Off his foot.
He had a solid year that year. Hit 268, had 12 home runs for the Rockies in 08.
I wonder how many times he bunted as a Clemson Tiger. Probably not much.
Probably never. you put an aluminum bat in Baker's hands, he's not going to drop down a bunt.
Real Muto is the runner at first. And Bumgarner goes over there. The wind just kind of shifted, Hut, as you look at the.
That's why you have to check it every inning.
The flags in right, those are the flags in right. They're not doing much, but in straightaway center field, up on top of the scoreboard, they're blowing out to center. Baker down the left field line. It's a fair ball. Real Muto can run. He's racing for third. Brett Butler will send him. Here comes Real Muto. Here comes the relay, and he's in there.
Oh, it's nice to have that young speed.
Jeff Baker makes it 2-0.
Well, and it started first off with the leadoff home run, then the nice at bat by Real Muto to draw the walk. And Jeff Baker crushes one, gets it into that corner, and then once it got into that corner, all eyes on Real Muto to see what Brett Butler was going to do as he rounded third. Gave him the green light, and he scored easily.
You saw Baker out of the box, was not running that well. Remember, in that at bat, he fouled a pitch off of his foot. And here's Morse. There's still nobody out. Bumgarner comes in. And it's 1-0. Imperative, certainly for the Marlins, that while Bumgarner is wobbling, you get as many as you can against him. And here's an opportunity.
Yeah, he doesn't have too many wobbles.
You got Morse, then Echeverria, then the pitcher spot. So for Morse and Echeverria, the time is now. Morse a ground ball. Baker's going to take third, and the throw to first is in time. And this is an interesting spot here for both Echeverria and for Bruce Bochy.
Well, you have on deck David Phelps, who's 0 for 9 this year, 0 for 15 in his career. Bochy knows that. Initially, he has his infield come in. He may try a couple of pitches to see if he gets Echeverria to chase something.
Echeverria struck out back in the third. Bumgarner has 6 strikeouts.
This is one of those areas we discuss all the time, hitting 8, how it's not an easy spot to hit. And I think this is one of those times with the runner at third and with the pitcher on deck, 1 out, that you might expand the strike zone just a little to try to make contact, to try to pick up that run, knowing that Phelps is on deck.
Baker, the runner at third. Infield up the middle is halfway. Corners are right on the grass. Echeverria into right field. That'll score the run. And Etch with a big turnaround first, not stopping, headed for second and gets there.
You know, that was a little bit of a bobble, but he didn't stop anyway. He was going to go, had Maxwell fielded that ball cleanly. I don't know how they'll score it. I think it should be a double because he never hesitated. But great hitting. There'll be a few San Francisco second guessers that second guess Bruce Bochy on that one. That's a double all the way, because he never, if he had hesitated then taken off, now you could call the error to Maxwell. But great job by Echeverria. There he is. No problem. 2-base hit and an RBI, and a big one.
Dave Righetti out to visit with Bumgarner. And here's Phelps. Phelps trying to adjust to the National League game and hitting after 3 seasons with the Yankees. Is 0 for 9 with 7 strikeouts. Of course, he's facing Madison Bumgarner. He's going to try to bunt it, and even that proves to be a challenge.
Yeah, I think even with if he's successful, there'll still be 2 out. But if you can move Echeverria 90 feet over to third base, you never know what can happen.
Belt, the first baseman, is coming hard. It's popped up. And the count's 0-2. Phelps has got the body language is fun to watch. Now he's frustrated for sure, but he's putting it all he's got into it. Echeverria is the runner at second. 3 runs across in the inning. An Ozuna homer, an RBI doubles, a Jeff Baker, and a Danny Echeverria. I always like it when the umpire identifies it when the catcher calls time, so the pitcher doesn't get irritated at the hitter. Check swing. No swing. It's 1-2. There's Mike Winters all bundled up. The umpires have got their cold weather gear going.
Got the nice dark jackets going. Dapper looking crew.
Yeah, there's a high-tech look to the umpire jackets this year, right? Cool little zipper pockets to keep stuff. Car keys and
got a couple of mics, a Mark and a Marty.
This is the 4M, the 4M crew for sure. And Phelps swings and misses. Ball's in the dirt. Going to force Posey to throw it to first. And there are 2 outs. And here's Yelich with a chance to add to this lead. Yelich bounced out and walked in the 3rd.
Another reason the importance to add on. We've talked about it the first 2 games of this series. The Giants, with their 6 runs last night, they've scored 6 runs or fewer. That's the most they've scored in a game this year in their first 30 games. And they've averaged just a little over 3 runs a game.
I think part of that note is the last time the Giants scored more than 6 runs, it was Game 4 of the World Series. They scored 11.
See, you read the rest of the note. I stopped at that. That's good.
The story is more fun when we both can tell it, right? 0-1 to Yelich. Yelich coming off the disabled list last night. One play that was kind of reassuring was that diving catch that he made in left center. The lower back held up. And the count's 0-2. Well, we told you that Bryce Harper and the Nationals walked off on the Braves 8-6 in that game. The Mets held on to beat the Phillies 3-2. Jonathan Neese gets the win. Juris Familia has a dozen saves already. Crowd wants a strikeout. Yelich looking for contact. And he fights off a fastball right in on his hands. It stays at 0-2. So the Mets are now 19-11. The Nationals are over 500 at 16-15. Miami trying to win tonight and get their 15th win.
The 12 saves does not lead the major leagues. Andrew Miller of the Yankees has 13.
Yelich, you could tell tonight, Tom, he's seeing the ball better. The swings are better. He walked in the 3rd. He's fought off a couple nasty pitches here. Guys don't just all of a sudden.
He's had a good approach against a tough left-hand.
Guys don't just all of a sudden come out of it by spraying line drives everywhere. It's a process, if you ask hitters and hitting coaches. That one misses away, and it's 1-2.
Just a good example, taking that pitch off the plate.
That one's way off the plate.
Kind of gave that away. You know, a lot of times you'll see a pitcher, and it's almost like you knew that was going to be a soft breaking ball. He kind of gave it away halfway through the delivery.
Well, he slowed his arm action down considerably, and Bumgarner's body language showed it as well. He was not happy with that pitch. So it's 2-2. Yelich against Bumgarner with Echeverria at second. And Yelich has watched 3 wide ones now. Count is full.
Goes back to what we talked about earlier. A lot of left-handed hitters chase that, and that's what Bumgarner's hoping for. But because of Yelich's ability to hit left-handers, he's been able to lay off of it.
Three and 2 to Christian Yelich.
And up to 85 pitches.
And he swings and misses at a fastball. But the Marlins get to Bumgarner. They get to him for 3 runs. Marcell Ozuna opens with a homer. And it's 3-0. Philly cheesesteak or try the new meatball sub. Pick yours. The view of San Francisco. A 3-0 lead for the Marlins. Night creeping closer here in the city by the bay. The Marlins have Donovan Solano out at second base. Remember the pitch that Jeff Baker fouled off before his double. And in watching him run out of the box, you could tell he was in pain. Baker would come around to score. Here's a look. Ouch. Off that left instep. He would double and then he would score, but he's not out defensively in the bottom of the 4th. Angel Pagan takes a strike from David Phelps.
Been a tough series for second baseman.
Yes, it has. D. Gordon irritating, I guess is the best way to say it. His hamstring the other night. Sat out yesterday. He has tonight off. I think having Bumgarner on the mound, that made the decision a little easier for Mike Redmond. With Ryan Vogelsong on the mound tomorrow, I would expect to see Gordon in the lineup.
I would expect the same. Not that Gordon hasn't faced Bumgarner. He's 3 for 13 against him. He's got the bat. He's ready to go.
And he is available to pinch hit. 2-2. Will Tapper. Phelps has had one of those tonight. He handles the second one flawlessly. Series concludes tomorrow. South Florida Honda dealers will bring you Marlins live. 3:30 in the afternoon for Craig Minervini and Preston Wilson. And happy Mother's Day a day early. That's something you'll hear a lot tomorrow. Happy Mother's Day. Matt Latos, Ryan Vogelsong get the start. Posey takes a strike. There's an example of what we were talking about yesterday. Buster Posey doesn't always swing at the first pitch, but when he does, he usually hits it hard for a hit. 0-2. There's your Giants box score. The Aoki hit was an infield single in the third. Pagan's was an infield hit back in the first. 0-2. That's strike three called. Now David Phelps, ever since entering the starting rotation, has just been dynamite. An ERA of under 2 in his 4 starts. Look at the movement on that.
What a nice job, too, by JT Realmuto. And it just goes back to you don't have to throw 98 to attack the strike zone. If you have command in and out, mix it up a little bit, and that's exactly what Phelps does.
Would you say velocity, if you were a commodities trader here in the financial district in San Francisco, velocity overrated, movement undervalued?
Yeah, ask Greg Maddux about that. Who had unbelievable movement, again reminiscent of that pitch that Phelps threw and struck out Posey with.
Bartolo Colon's a great example of it. Our friend Jim Cott the other day was diagramming that. It was a swing and a miss, and it's 1-2. Of course, if you have both, then you're really good.
Then you'll be going into Cooperstown someday.
If you throw 96, 97 with movement, now that's something. 1-2 coming.
And then just like that, okay, it's 91, but just to keep him honest, run that pitch inside. That was where Phelps wanted that pitch. If he missed, he wanted to miss off the plate inside.
Solano to his left, gobbles it up and flips on over to first, and David Phelps has been magnificent here in San Francisco. 3-0 Miami. Now, we do have a clean, crisp Coors Light cold hard fact. Pitches thrown National League since 2011. Them's a lot of pitches, Tommy Hutton.
Yeah, it is.
But I don't know that you're going to find a much sturdier body than Madison Bumgarner's.
See, we're 3 of those guys lefties. With Kershaw and Hamels, Bumgarner.
Bumgarner 6'3", 235, and country strong, especially in all the commercials that we saw in the offseason, whether it was pickup trucks or whatever. Bumgarner, I like his style, though. I'm sure whenever they ask him to do a commercial, he says, as long as I can wear jeans, I'm in. Out of Hudson, North Carolina.
Well, wasn't he on horseback, one of the celebrations?
He brought the World Series flag in on opening day here.
Yeah.
On horseback. Prado, right center field. Maxwell's there, and he makes the catch. So an out. Now here is Stanton. This will be an interesting at bat. Remember in the third, Stanton struck out. He also struck out in the first, but the at bat in the third, he looked really uncomfortable.
He really, both at bats, has not looked comfortable against Bumgarner. A guy who he came into this game 8 for 13 against him. Now he's 8 for 15.
Oh, and 1. Giants bring 3 infielders on the third base side of second.
One thing's for sure, with the pitch count up for Bumgarner, he's probably maybe going to go one more inning. And this could be his last inning. You never know.
Breaking ball strike. One and 2. It was a fastball up that got Stanton swinging.
See if he goes up there again. Yeah.
That one fouled at the plate. St. Louis finally lost a game today. Pittsburgh 7-5 won in Pittsburgh. Jordy Mercer drives in 3 for the Bucks. 1-2 to Giancarlo. And down he goes. So Stanton tonight has been overmatched against Bumgarner. He's 0 for 3. And as we pointed out, and Tommy just reminded everyone, he was 8 for 13 against him coming in.
Well, and this time he goes with that slider, the cutter, down and in, instead of going up and in.
Nine strikeouts for the Giants ace. And now Ozuna, who started the scoring in the fourth, smacking a pitch up into the seats in left center field. And in case you missed the smacking, here it is.
Yeah, we always like to revisit the smacking, especially when it's hit like that. And for Marcell Ozuna, 2 home runs, his first 2 of the year here in this series.
Warren Henry, drive of the game. 0-2.
Speaking of smacking and a losing cause, Chris Bryant hit his first major league home run.
Oh, there's going to be nonstop stories on that.
Even though the Cubs lost 12-4.
Oh, stop. It'll be the lead story on every website. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Ozuna strikes out. Bumgarner goes 1-2-3 in the fifth, halfway through in San Francisco, 3-0 Miami.
6-0 lead. Well, Thursday night was a special night here in San Francisco for Michael Morse. Morse was honored by the Giants before the game and presented with that 2014 World Series championship ring. Take a look at it. That's a picture that he tweeted out. He said it was impressive, and he was not kidding. Morse says he does plan on wearing it all the time. He's even had it on the past 2 nights leaving the clubhouse. But Rich Tommy, he says he'd like to add one more to his collection, this time with the Marlins.
That would be nice. He, as a kid growing up, watched the Marlins win 2 in '97 and 2003. Justin Maxwell, a fastball for a strike. David Phelps has been very efficient, very accurate. He has a strikeout, whereas Madison Bumgarner has struck out 10. The Marlins have 3 runs against Bumgarner. Phelps has yet to give up a run. Yelich chasing after that one. It goes to the wall. Maxwell around second. He'll hold there. The Giants have a leadoff double here in the 5th inning.
Well, it's their 3rd base hit. It's their first extra base hit and their first leadoff base hit. A little bit of trouble right there, but no problem. Yelich gets it back in and holds Maxwell to the double.
Brandon Crawford with Casey McGee on deck. 3rd hit, first for extra bases. First hit out of the infield, actually.
On the pitcher spot coming up in this inning, so activity in that Giants bullpen.
George Cantos. David Phelps, meanwhile, is at 54 pitches. So he's been much more efficient.
Yeah, Bumgarner 99.
Tough to strike out 10 without moving your pitch count up, isn't it?
And really just the one bad inning for Bumgarner. The Marlins took advantage of him in the 4th inning.
Two and two. Maxwell's at second.
A couple of times I've heard a really good description of David Phelps and his style. He's a Kevin Slowey with better stuff.
Huh. JT Realmuto and Phelps, a quick chat. Well, in New York, as a young starter, kind of a swing guy, I would expect it. Any wobble in the rotation and you're back in the bullpen. Misses away. 3 seasons with the Yankees, he was almost split down the middle. 40 starts, 47 relief appearances. And an ERA at 4.13. 3-2 to Brandon Crawford. Crawford into center field. That's a base hit. Stanton has it. Maxwell round third, throw home, and he's in. The Giants are on the board. Crawford stays at first.
Well, we talked about Brandon Crawford earlier, leading the Giants, 16 RBIs in that category. Goes out after a pitch, out over the plate if it's down a little bit, maybe better luck with it. But good hitting on Crawford's part. Perfect throw by Giancarlo. Maxwell just beat it. He runs well. Rich, the report we're getting on Jeff Baker, who had to leave the game, he left the game with a tight right oblique.
Really?
So it was not the the foot on the foul ball.
He's listed as day-to-day with that tight oblique. Donovan Solano came in. Solano's at second and is due to lead off in the sixth. Casey McGee's up here. And all of a sudden David Phelps has hit his first bump in the road. And Phelps goes to 3-0 on the number 8 hitter, Casey McGee. There's a strike. Three and one. Infield looking for a double play ball. Crawford's at first. Runner goes, swing and a miss. Real Muto's throw, and he is out at second base.
Boy, that's a big play. That's a big play. Probably thinking a little run and hit because of the number of double plays Casey McGee's hit into. He swings through it. Real Muto comes up and fires, and getting stuck a little bit trying to do the swim motion is Crawford because he knew he was out by a lot.
3-2 to McGee. At the knees, called strike 3. And McGee doesn't like it. David Phelps, who was teetering there, he was 3-0 with a runner at first and a run across. And all of a sudden, just like that, he gets 2 outs.
I'm sure Casey thinks it's low. It's borderline, but a perfect pitch from David Phelps.
So Bumgarner exits. And the Giants will bring in a pinch hitter. Hector Sanchez will hit. And Sanchez takes down low. So it's 3-1, Miami on top. San Francisco has a run, but Miami still has the lead. And no more Bumgarner to deal with. David Phelps gets a strike, and it's 1-1.
Sanchez, a guy who filled in last year and caught when Buster Posey would get a breather, either sit out or play first base. And when that happened, Sanchez would play behind the plate.
One pitch hit into right field. Stanton over for it. Sanchez around first, headed to second, and he gets there with a double. And the Giants aren't done yet here in the 5th. Double or nothing. That's the annual Fish and Chips Casino Party. It's on Thursday, May 21st at Marlins Park. An evening of poker, blackjack, roulette, dominoes, live music, hors d'oeuvres, silent auction. Get your spot at Marlins Fish and Chips. Go to marlins.com/fish and chips. Top of the order, Nori Aoki was an infield hit and has bounced out. San Francisco now even with Miami at 5 hits apiece.
This would be a big out for David Phelps. You you had the opportunity after giving up the 1 run with the caught stealing and then the strikeout to get out of the inning, but the Giants extended it with the double from Sanchez.
Well, the inning has pushed the pitch count up to 70. Joe Panik is on deck, and Phelps is 1-2 on Aoki.
Yeah, you saw that shot of Bruce Bochy in his 9th year managing the Giants with 3 World Championships. You forget that he 12 years managed the Padres.
Was the manager of the year twice with the Padres.
So he's been a major league manager for a long time.
He is the longest tenured manager in baseball. Big lead at second for Sanchez. And the fastball up. It's 2-2. Giants getting a run on the Brandon Crawford RBI single. Justin Maxwell doubled the lead off the inning. Strikeout of McGee was big, and Phelps thought he had a strikeout of Aoki on that pitch.
Well, he's had a few of those called in this one tonight, and looks like it is just off the plate, but very close.
Three and two. He walks. Until the inning grows longer, the pitch count grows higher. And here is Joe Panik.
Yeah, that walk's going to get David Phelps a visit from his pitching coach, Chuck Hernandez. Sure, to this point, Chuck has certainly been pleased with what he's seen. He just wants Phelps to get through this inning.
There's no activity in Miami's bullpen. Of course, there really isn't a bullpen in terms of the bullpen sitting down there. It's right down the way, and the relievers, bullpen catchers, bullpen coach, they all get to sit in the dugout.
Yeah, just about every guy I talk to in that bullpen enjoys that. AJ Ramos, Ryan Morris, they said they like being a part of the group in there, even though it's a little more congested. There isn't a whole lot of room.
I don't think there's even a phone down in the bullpens. Now Panik. And Phelps. Well, you think about the 2 outs that he got. The caught stealing, Real Muto's throw to nail Crawford, and then the strikeout of McGee. Outside of those 2 pitches, he got those 2 outs in 2 pitches. It's been a struggle here. And he gets a strike in this inning, the bottom of the 5th.
Well, we talked about it. He's never pitched in this ballpark, never faced the Giants before. However, in 3 games, won a start over in the East Bay in Oakland. A 1-0 record. And a 0-0 ERA. So he's pitched well in the area.
Phelps out of St. Louis. Product of Notre Dame. There's a strike, and it's 2-2. Joe Panik, this would be his first full season in the big leagues if he sticks, and all indications are he will. 73 games last year. 2-2. This inning, 30 pitches.
So you have a guy out of University of Notre Dame pitching to a guy from St. John's.
Full count. And I don't know that Miami's bullpen will be quiet much longer. The crowd certainly isn't. They're starting to get heated up. Another sellout here in San Francisco. Breaking ball pulled foul down towards Miami's bullpen, which is starting to get some activity. Sam Dyson on his way down to throw.
It was actually a really good pitch given the situation. 3-2 curveball, but Panic fouled it off.
345 consecutive sellouts here in regular season games. And there are more people in the ballpark tonight than there were Thursday and Friday. Another 3-2, runners on the move. Fly ball left field, peeling foul and out of play. It's back to 3-2. Back to second goes Hector Sanchez. Aoki back to first. And Dyson getting loose. Phelps trying to get through this inning. Hang on to the lead. Giants have one. But it's 3-1. 3-2 coming. On the ground, Morse has it and gets to the bag. And Phelps survives the fifth and hangs on to that lead. Giants are on the board, but Miami leads it 3-1.
Yvonne, check out this sign. She is representing all the teams that Martin Prado has played for. And Yvonne, I got to ask you, why are you such a big Martin Prado fan?
I started off with the Braves. Well, I'm a Braves fan. Go Braves. So I love him, and he's very good looking, obviously. So.
Marlins on top of the Giants by a score of 3-1. Let's go down to Jessica Blaylock.
All right, thanks, Rich. I have found the biggest Martin Prado fan in the stands. This is Yvonne. Check out this sign. She is representing all the teams that Martin Prado has played for. And Yvonne, I got to ask you, why are you such a big Martin Prado fan?
I started off with the Braves. Well, I'm a Braves fan. Go Braves. So I love him, and he's very good looking, obviously. So he's good to look at. He's a very versatile player, and that's why I really like him.
All right, so you've been following Prado for a while then, because he played for the Braves back in the day.
Yes. So, yeah, it started off with the Braves, last year with the Diamondbacks and the Yankees, and now with the Marlins. So hence my poster.
And I see that Martine actually had a chance to sign your poster. How cool was that?
It was awesome. It was so great. It was nice to be up close and personal with him. Yeah.
Well, thanks for representing the Marlins and representing Martin Prado, and have fun watching the game.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, Rich, back up to you.
All right, thank you, Jessica. JT Real Muto at the plate. George Contos is on the mound. And the 0-1 pitch bounces all the way to the screen. It's a ball and a strike. Madison Bumgarner has come and gone. George Contos takes over. It's really interesting when you realize that one starter has struck out 10 and the other has struck out 2. The guy that has struck out 2 is still in the game. The guy that struck out 10 is gone. Bumgarner, 5 innings, 5 hits. Marlins got him for 3 runs. He walked 2, and he threw 99 pitches.
Yeah, and on the other hand, David Phelps, 5 innings, 5 hits, giving up just the 1 run, 1 walk, couple of strikeouts, has thrown 83 pitches.
No swing.
The Marlins saw Contos briefly, first game of this series, just a third of an inning. Came in to bail out Tim Hudson.
Giants have the alternate black jerseys with the outlined numbers on the back.
Tough to see the numbers with that particular look.
Yes, thankfully it's baseball and not college football. That's really tough. Here's the 3-2. Ooh, strike 3 called. Realmuto was handed to first and now takes a detour to the dugout. There's your Fox Tracks. It got the plate and it was at the letters. Geico brings you this MLB moment. Tony Gwynn was born in Los Angeles, 1960. Hall of Famer, 8 batting titles, 5 Gold Gloves, an All-Star in 15 of his 20 Major League seasons with the Padres. I saw it today on Twitter that San Diego State at their game had his jersey hanging. Solano bangs it off of Contos and McGee fires to first. And Solano is out number 2. The San Diego State Aztecs, where Gwynn played and was their head coach, honored him today. Solano's had awful luck here in San Francisco.
Boy, he has. This ball, I mean, just takes the perfect carom over to third base, and Casey McGee finishes the play on a ball that would have been right back up the middle. You know, the other thing I was thinking about with that note on the late Tony Gwynn, the mayor of San Francisco signed an interesting law today. The city becomes the first city in the nation to outlaw chewing tobacco from its playing fields, including AT&T Park.
And I would think if Tony Gwynn were still with us, he'd probably endorse that.
Yes, he would.
It's something that has a history in this game and is slowly, thankfully, leaving this game. Morse pulls it into left field. So Michael Morse has a base hit, and Adeiny Echeverria comes up. So I wonder how that will be enforced here, if there are any big leaguers that are chewing.
That's a good point, because it's not a major league has yet to do that throughout, but it's a city ban. So yeah, that's a good question.
Would you be in favor of, and now it's illegal in the minor leagues?
Yeah, I think you have to do it there to kind of grandfather it in, because anybody that has had any kind of an addiction, it'll tell you it's hard for them to quit. And to just say, well, we're going to ban it in the major leagues, there are a lot of players who would have a hard time with that.
Bruce Bochy.
But I think someday we'll see it banned.
Bruce Bochy, the Giants manager, apparently used hypnosis. Echeverria now. Giants have a lefty warming up in their bullpen. Javier Lopez. Morse at first. And Chavarria takes a breaking ball for a strike.
Bochy talking yesterday about last year when he brought his son into a game, who's in AAA on the DL right now. But he took some heat from his wife.
She brought him into this world. He brought him into a game.
Well, he brought him into a bases loaded situation. And she said, couldn't you have brought him in the night before in a blowout game?
Morse on a wild pitch.
It's a slow track out there. We saw Brandon Crawford when he was thrown out. You kind of hit the dirt. You're not going to slide as far as you think you are on this stuff.
End of the bat. Well, one of the reasons when you water down this infield, most major league ballparks, certainly in Florida, it's going to dry up pretty easily.
5 minutes later.
Yeah, here it's cold and damp, and it's going to stay that way. 1-2. Morse is at second, scoring position. And you've got Phelps on deck. Whether he'll hit or not, if Echeverria reaches, not sure.
Yeah, I don't think he will.
Dyson's still throwing in the pen. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now remember, the Marlins are already down a man. Jeff Baker left with a strained oblique.
And if Mike Redmond, which he probably will, pinch hit one of the left-handers, that's why Bochy has a left-hander up in his bullpen.
Those of you that were watching the NBA playoff game, Golden State and Memphis, saw Memphis take a 2-1 lead in the series over the heavily favored Golden State Warriors. Here it's 2-2 pitch to Echeverria, and he lines it foul. Miami getting 3 runs against Madison Bumgarner in the 4th. The Giants got a run against David Phelps in the 5th. Bumgarner is gone after striking out 10. And Phelps remains, although his stay in this ball game is rather tenuous. He's on deck. Echeverria with the count 2-2. On the ground, Panic gets the out. And so George Contos a scoreless 6th. We'll see if Phelps comes out or if Dyson comes in. 6, Fox Sports Supports is proud to team up with AYSO, the world's largest soccer club. Go to ayso.org/play and find your region and sign up for your fall team today. David Phelps will survive into the 6th. Sam Dyson was ready. Echeverria bounced out, and Phelps' spot did not come up. And the Marlins are going to try to squeeze another inning out of him. But you would think, Tommy, if there's any real wobble here, that Dyson would be right back up. Teeth of the order, Pagan, Posey, and Belt for San Francisco. And ball 1 from Phelps.
Well, that's what, you make that decision to leave him in. Obviously, if the pitcher spot had come up, Mike Redmond would have pinch hit. That's why Dyson was warming up. But then the other side of that, this is a tougher part of the order for Phelps to go through the 3rd time around for these guys. He'll have to make some good pitches.
People talk about the baseball gods and jinxes and such. Certainly it hasn't affected the Giants, who in their last 5 years have celebrated with 3 downtown parades. News leaked out a couple of days ago that city officials on both sides of the bay were talking about the logistics for a Golden State Warriors victory parade.
It's a little early.
It's a little early. But the problem they have is both cities want to have parades if the Warriors win. They play over in Oakland. They have a great fan base in San Francisco. And it's left center field. That's a hit. Yelich will pick it up, and Pagan is aboard with a single.
Now, didn't at one time they played in San Francisco?
Right. They started in San Francisco.
Just south of here. Yeah.
Absolutely. And here's the rub. Their one world championship was in the mid-'70s. The championship series, I believe, was against the Washington. I'm not sure. But anyways, it was the Bullets. They were supposed to play it in Oakland, but they had booked either the Circus or Ice Capades. They had to play in the aptly named Cow Palace in South San Francisco. And that's where Rick Barry and the Warriors won it. Stanton under it. The glasses are long since gone. He makes the catch.
Boy, one of the few times on a first pitch we've been documenting all series the success that Posey's had on first pitches. And one of the few times he made it out. So good to get him on that one pitch on the fly ball.
Here's Brandon Belt. Warriors are planning to move back to San Francisco with a downtown arena. I have seen the plans. I did not know it was under construction. It's not yet. Well, good luck. You might put that as a soft arrival in 2017. There's the 1-0. Pitch is out. Brandon Belt has been scorching hot. 6 for 9 in the series coming in, but 0 for 2 tonight. And doubles, lots of them. He has a double in 6 consecutive games. It's the second longest streak in Giants history. Jeff Kent, 7 straight back in '99.
Well, you would have come up with other names before you would have come up with Jeff Kent, who was a terrific hitter and had a great run
you could
as a Giant.
Mays,
MVP.
Mays, McCovey, Cepeda,
yeah.
Both Bonds, Jack Clark, Johnny LeMaster,
Jim Ray Hart,
Dirty Al Gallagher. Count is 2-1. And Belt fouls it back to the screen. Phelps really digging deep here now. Trying to push through this 6th inning.
Well, remember his last outing, a no decision. in Washington, but really pitched well. 6 1/3, gave up 6 hits and a couple of runs.
Echeverria over towards the bag at second. Belt, one of his hits in this series was through that vacated shortstop spot.
A lot of times when a hitter, when the shift is on and you see a ball hit into an area like that, it's because the pitcher didn't hit his spot.
That's a great point. You shift to a hitter and you assume that you're also pitching to that shift. Full count. Pagan has 3 stolen bases on the season. Real Muto, remember, threw out Crawford last inning, which has turned into a key play in this game. And Phelps will chase Pagan back. Giants are no strangers to close games. Not running. Pitch is hit in the air. Yelich out in left. Makes the catch.
Well, when you have trouble scoring, and you mentioned it earlier, 96 runs through their first 30 games. That's a little over 3 a game. That's the fewest through their first 30 games since 1985. So when you don't score a lot of runs, there are going to be a lot of close games when you have the pitching the Giants do.
That's been a tradition here in San Francisco. You see the fewest runs scored in the National League. It's their, I believe it was their great television play-by-play man, Dwayne Kuiper, who coined the term Giants baseball torture back in the 2012 season, when the Giants didn't score a lot of runs, played a lot of one-run games, and of course won a world championship.
How about the oddity seeing Philadelphia atop that list, fewest runs?
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of lists that you see Philly on that you just don't recognize it or correlate with the Phillies.
I saw it today where Cesar Hernandez played second base. No Chase Utley in that lineup, whose average has gone below 100.
Justin Maxwell.
I take that back. Utley with a pinch hit today. He's up to 109.
And Phelps, man, 92 miles an hour, throws it by Maxwell. If that's the last pitch he throws tonight, it was a good one. in San Francisco late night with the Fish as the Marlins and the Giants hit the 7th inning. Tommy Hutton, Jessica Blaylock, 52 degrees and dropping at AT&T Park. Ichiro has been announced as a pinch hitter. George Contos was finishing up his warm-up tosses, and as soon as he was announced, Bruce Bochy popped out and said, you know what, it's time for a West Kendall Toyota call to the bullpen. In San Francisco, everybody settling back into their seats. Top of the 7th, 3-1 Miami. Ichiro to lead it off, and Javier Lopez whips one outside, and it is 1-0. Another guy that's been a stalwart in the bullpen for some time, and a really good one, is Lopez.
Yeah, you look at the two lefties that have been constants. We talked about Jeremy Affeldt and Lopez, the other, but you have those two guys, and they've been a big part of this Giants World Series run.
David Phelps' run tonight goes 6 innings. He leaves for a pinch hitter. Ichiro takes down low.
Boy, just another solid effort from David Phelps.
Ichiro, a little ground ball. McGee has it and throws him out. So went out here in the 7th. Top of the order, Christian Yelich and Martin Prado. There's the Marlins box score. The big hits in the middle of that. Marcell Ozuna, a solo homer to lead off the 4th. And then RBIs by Jeff Baker and Adeiny Echeverria. Yelich takes inside. Baker, incidentally, left the game after the double and after he scored a run. Baker with a tight right oblique. Ball and a strike to Yelich. And it's 2-1. Yelich struck out in the 4th, walked in the 3rd. Madison Bumgarner, 5 innings, 10 strikeouts, but 3 runs on 5 hits. Gene Machi. AJ Ramos.
I think in the return of Christian Yelich, so much is just about timing and getting it back. Get a couple of games, maybe 3 under his belt here. He'll be happy to go home to Southern California for that series against the Dodgers.
Full count at 3-2. swings and misses. Fish Family, the exclusive loyalty program for the Miami Marlins. And now members can get bonus points during every Marlins telecast on Fox Sports Florida. To learn more, log in, go to marlins.com/fishfamily. And for all members listening tonight, bonus code is Stanton. This is Prado. There's Martin, who is 2 for 3. Single, double. Also has flied out. Prado hitting at .310 right now. He's on base at 352. He is slugging at .414. 6 doubles, couple homers. And he's been very, very good with the glove at third base. One and two. Jessica's buddy, the Prado fan. Camera savvy. She's good.
Very nice camera awareness.
Even drinking a sponsor's beer. Outs to short. Crawford across in time. And Javier Lopez a 1-2-3-7 seventh inning stretch in San Francisco. 3-1 Miami. Late night with the Fish. It is officially late night with the Fish. 11:15 back home in the great state of Florida. Here in San Francisco. It is 3-1 Miami. We realize that many of you back home are just getting ready to head out for your night in the Magic City.
South Beach has yet to come alive.
For that matter, so are you, and neither you or I have come alive either. Now Miami's bullpen gets the ball. A.J. Ramos first out of that pen, and they are charged with holding a 3-1 lead. Bottom 7. David Phelps, 6 really nice innings. Gave up just a run. Walked 1, struck out 3. Brandon Crawford, Casey McGee, and then the pitcher spot. And then Ramos throws a strike, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Crawford has singled, flied out. He was caught stealing. One of the biggest sequences for the Marlins were 2 pitches that Phelps threw in the 5th. Swing and a miss. The Giants already had a run. Crawford was at first. 3-1 was the count on Casey McGee. And probably to stay out of the double play, Bruce Bochy started Crawford. McGee swung and missed, and Real Muto threw him out. And on the next pitch, McGee took a called strike 3.
Yeah, that was a quick sequence.
1-2. Up the middle and into center field. Crawford has his 2nd hit. And the Giants are in business here in the 7th.
I think if the Marlins hang on and win this game, David Phelps will go back and look at that sequence that you were just talking about as a real key in this one for him.
Now McGee, who's 0 for 2. Hero last night. The grand slam and a hit. Foul back to the screen.
It's always interesting when a player changes teams. And people say, well, he should be able to hit off these guys who are his teammates. He knows what they throw, but it's a lot different when you're facing him. You're playing behind. He played behind A.J. Ramos a lot. Casey did. But a little different standing in there to face him.
He went. It's 1-2. Mike Dunn down in Miami's pen. And that's strike 3 called by Casey McGee. And has struck out twice tonight on an 0 for 3. And Ramos gets his first out.
Boy, fooled him badly and then just came right after him with a fastball that had a lot of the plate and locked up Casey McGee. Good pitch.
Gregor Blanco will get the pinch hitting assignment for the Giants in the 7th, with Crawford still at first.
You brought up a good point. We were talking about it before the game. A couple of guys the Giants have had in Joaquin Arias, Gregor Blanco, guys who've been around a little bit, certainly know their roles.
Look, the Giants have plenty of headliners through this 5-year run. Posey, Bumgarner, Kane, Lincecum, Pence. Obviously, Pablo Sandoval is no longer here, but up until last year he was. There's a lot of bit players that have played big parts. They've kept a lot of those pieces here. I mean, we've talked about the bullpen. I've seen Javier Lopez and Affeldt, Gene Machi. No, that's actually not Gene Machi.
It's like Sergio Romo.
And that's Gene Machi. All the way to the screen. And it's 3-1 to Blanco. So it's a wild pitch from Ramos. That's a real wild pitch.
Probably the changeup. Sometimes the grip just stays on a little too long.
Having a guy like Romo in the pen, Santiago Casilla, who was a late inning guy, now is the closer. They've been here for a while. That one fouled back. You think about some of their heroes, too, guys that had great postseasons. Juan Uribe, remember the postseason homers? He's obviously now a Dodger. Cody Ross, who was just released by Oakland last week.
And you know who Oakland just signed? Just worked out a deal with Boston. Edward Mujica.
Changeup misses away. And Ramos loses Blanco. Now he gets Aoki.
Yeah, not good stuff because you're back to the top of the order. And right now, AJ hasn't shown the command that we see him sometimes have. Struggling somewhat. We saw the shot of the Marlins bullpen. Mike Dunn getting ready.
You've got Aoki, a lefty bat. You've got Panic behind him. Who can forget the postseason that Marco Scutaro had as a Giant? Ramos would like a ground ball. Echeverria and Solano up the middle playing for two. Aoki, not an easy guy to double. He can run.
Yeah, this is one, if you're a middle infielder, anywhere in the infield, and you get that ground ball, you just want to, because of the score especially, you just want to make sure you get the one.
In the air, deep, Ozuna, left center, makes the catch, tagging at second, and holding there is Crawford, and Ozuna uncorks a tremendous throw from the warning track. Crawford tagged and started to run, but he had an eye on Ozuna, and watch what Ozuna did.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that made Crawford stop in his steps about a third of the way off the bag.
Aoki hit that a long ways. Here's Panic now. Ramos trying to get San Francisco's second baseman. The tying runs at first. Panic had 2 hits in the first 2 games of the series. Strike, and it's 1-1. One is fouled back. 1-2.
You would expect, Rich, with even though Mike Dunn's continuing to warm up, if AJ gets through this hitter, you would expect in the 8th inning that we would see Brian Morris, because you have the switch hitter in Pagan, and then Posey, then Belt, or it could be Mike Dunn. Let's see what Mike Redmond decides to do.
1-2. Ramos changing speeds, trying to catch that corner, and it's 2-2. And a timeout. JT Realmuto out to talk with AJ Ramos. Here in San Francisco, the Marlins with a 3-1 lead, trying to pin a loss not only on the Giants but also on Madison Bumgarner. 2-2 to Joe Panic. And Ramos to the plate. In the air, shallow center. Echeverria got turned around, and it's Ozuna who races in and makes the catch. And AJ Ramos, a scoreless 7th. 3-1 Fish. Ozuna, our H.H. Gregg high-def highlights. He opened the scoring with a solo shot to start the fourth inning.
Yeah, second home run of this series after a walk, then a double by Jeff Baker. That drove in JT Real Muto. You can see Baker kind of grabbing that side. And then nice bit of hitting by Adeiny Hechavarria. Double down the right field line. That picked up Baker, and that gave the Marlins at the time a 3-0 lead. The Giants added their lone run in the bottom of the fifth inning. That's how it stands right now. Good ball game.
Gene Machi out of the bullpen, and Machi will face Giancarlo Stanton, Marcell Ozuna, JT Real Muto. It has been a tough night for Stanton. All three of his at-bats against Madison Bumgarner, and he has struck out 3 times. So a change of scenery for Stanton is welcome here.
And of course, against the right-hander, back to the face guard.
Breaking ball in, and the count is 2-1. Machi following Javier Lopez and then George Cantos. So 3 relievers for the Giants. Mike Dunn is still up in Miami's bullpen right now. 3-1. And Bumgarner struck out 10 in just 5 innings. But his pitch count was high, and the Marlins had the lead, and he had an exit after 5. And Stanton walks. So the Marlins have their leadoff man aboard here in the 8th inning. And here's Marcell Ozuna, who has enjoyed his stay in San Francisco and usually does. This has been a place where he's hit and hit well. And it has continued. This is game 3. He's 5 for 12, a pair of home runs.
I'll tell you another place that he's hit well. He's hit well since he's been in the number 4 spot. So everything's worked out well when Mike Redmond made that move. Kind of a subtle move, but it's really jump-started Ozuna.
One pitch is a strike. And the count's 1-1. Most everything in baseball is done right now. A few games going out west. Ozuna roller. Machi gets a glove on it. Still goes to second. Safe there. Panic was not on the base. Machi threw to Panic instead of Crawford. And the Giants don't get the out there. And obviously Ozuna was well past first. It's going to be a base hit.
I think what Machi was doing was just throwing to the bag. I don't think he was picking out either the shortstop or the second baseman. But Panic and Crawford were surprised because they just assumed that Machi would go over to first and get the out there. Neither was at the bag, so it'll be a base hit, and everybody's safe. So that's a good break.
The Giants actually were in the process of reviewing that for a challenge. Bruce Bochy came out of the dugout and was waiting because from his angle, Panic was around the bag.
Yeah.
But we had a better view, overhead view, and you saw it on the replay. Real Muto now, runners first and second, nobody out. JT squares, and he takes down low. It's 1-0. Looks like Sergio Romo is back throwing in the Giants bullpen.
2 or 3 sliders, he'll be ready to go.
They're going to take the hit away from Ozuna, and it's now going to become a fielder's choice. Real Muto, a nice bunt, first base side. Belt looked at third and goes to first, gets the out. And so a big at bat coming up for Donovan Solano here.
Well, what a nice job by JT Real Muto. Perfectly executed, great bunt.
San Francisco's infield is coming in. Solano has hit the ball hard here in San Francisco. His one at bat in the 6th, he was robbed of a hit. He blasted one off the pitcher that ended up rolling to Casey McGee, who threw him out. And then remember last night, Solano with a couple runners on and 2 outs in the 2nd, in that at that point a tight game, hit a shot to the warning track in left center, and it was Angel Pagan who made a running leaping catch to rob him of a hit and save some runs. Oh, 1 pitch. Solano nearly took Stanton, wow, with that line drive.
Here comes Stanton down the line where he should be in foul territory, and boy, he just has to bail in a hurry.
Now with 2 strikes, Machie looking for a strikeout. Solano looking for contact. And he gets it, and he sneaks it down the first base line for a hit. Stanton will score. Ozuna will score. Ball in the bullpen. Donovan Solano with a 2-run double, and Miami has some insurance here in the 8th inning.
Boy, you talk about hitting a pitcher's pitch, because this is exactly where the Giants want to. Watch Posey. Watch Posey. Sets up outside. Give it to me outside. It's outside. It might be up a little, and that helps a hitter. But great job by Donovan Solano, who actually thought it might be foul when he first hit it. So the sacrifice by Real Muto, and then a key base hit by Donovan Solano.
Now Morse, there's 1 out. And Morse swings and misses. Strikeout, a ground out, and a single. Morse has 3 hits in the series.
How about the 2 guys that have played second base in this game? An RBI double by Baker in the 4th inning, and Donovan Solano driving in 2 with a double.
Mike Redmond with a smile right now. Some breathing room here in San Francisco. 5-1 Miami. Morse hits a fly ball to right, and it's deep. Maxwell goes back, should have room on the track, makes the catch. Solano starts towards third, and he'll hold there. That's a long ways out there. Morse knows that. He played here obviously last year. And here is Echeverria with Solano 90 feet away, but there are 2 outs. 3:30 tomorrow on Fox Sports Florida for Marlins Live. Preston Wilson in his Mother's Day Sunday best, along with Craig Minervini. And Matt Latos, Ryan Vogelsong matchup to finish off a 4-game weekend series. Echeverria. Adaney is 1 for 3, RBI double. That came against Bumgarner, and that finished the scoring in the 4th. That was the big inning for Miami. They have added 2 here in the 8th.
Well, and the other thing too, Rich, if the Marlins hang on and win this game, it puts yourself in a position to win the series.
Echeverria up the middle, backhanded by Panic. He is out, or called out. And the Marlins will probably ask for a challenge. A run is at stake here. Mike Redmond has popped out in front of the dugout. Everybody has frozen here in the ballpark. The Giants have stopped dead in their tracks. The phone goes into the dugout to the video, or into the clubhouse, into the video room. And the Marlins will challenge it. And so a run is at stake here. The Marlins, one of Major League Baseball's very best last year at winning challenges. And if they win this one, they're rewarded with a run. Panic made a really nice play. Echeverria runs well. And we'll get our first looks at it here in a second. Back of the glove. And he is safe, I believe, before the back of the glove.
It appears that way. Had a nice chat with Pat Shine, Marlins replay coordinator, and he was talking about the pressure, you know, having to make a decision in 30, 40 seconds to let the manager know whether to challenge or not to challenge.
Mark Wagner, Mike Winters on headsets. It's back of glove. There's another angle. Boy, it is close.
See, a lot of fans will look at the replay, and if they're not sure of the back of the glove and how that has to be ruled, they'll say, well, he caught the ball a little before he got there, so he's out. But as we've seen and as we were told, that's what the umpires look for.
And that's gone both ways, for and against Miami. Here's a better look at back of the glove. This is from Comcast Bay Area. He's definitely safe in that look. The ball's not to the back of the glove. Chrysler getting their money's worth on this challenge at first base, and it's a big one. Again, if you're just happening by, if the Marlins win this challenge, they get themselves a run and add on to what already has been a 5-1 lead.
A little surprised that it's taking as long as it is.
Well, it's the night shift back in New York. I mean, all the games but 4 are done.
Yeah, let's see. Arizona and the Padres are still going at it. The Angels hosting Houston.
He's safe.
Yeah, all right.
As expected. Echeverria gets another hit. The Marlins get another run. 2 minutes, 32 seconds on review. That third look that we saw was the decisive look. That view coming from, it looked like left center field. Echeverria with 2 RBIs now has driven in 19 this year. Here's that look again. Back of glove. Foot is on, and just before it got to the back of the glove. Justin Bohr will pinch hit. Echeverria the runner at first. Giants infield shifted a bit on Bohr, who might find himself in the starting lineup tomorrow.
Boy, Echeverria, as you pointed out, 19 RBI, second on the club in that department. And we mentioned earlier in the game for Echeverria, second amongst Major League shortstops in RBIs.
Brian Morris is up with Mike Dunn in Miami's bullpen. And it's 2-0. Sergio Romo standing down in the Giants pen. There's Misters Dunn and Morris. It's not been a good inning for Gene Machi. And he promptly goes 3-0 on Justin Bour. And Justin Bour walks. Bruce Bochy has seen enough. On his way out, Gene Machi will leave. Sergio Romo, the former closer, now coming in. Christian Yelich will be the hitter. West Kendall Toyota. This seems to be a themed party boat, a Miami Vice looking party boat. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but
the 49er fan crashed it.
Yeah. Here is Sergio Romo. Christian Yelich with the bags loaded, or excuse me, with runners first and second. And 2 outs.
Well, it's nice to add on the way the Marlins have. And if you're a team struggling to score runs the way the Giants have, it really puts them in a bigger hole.
Yelich takes a strike, and it's 1-1. Well, as we talked about, if you just do the math, the Giants have not scored more than 6 runs all year long. In all 30 games this season, 6 runs or fewer. And Yelich still searching at the plate. The count 1-2. He's 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts.
It's all about timing. It's all about identifying pitches.
Breaking ball misses in. That streak of 30 games to start the season is 6 runs or fewer. It's the longest streak in Giants history since 1914. That's a long time. Two. Fouled at the plate. Of course, that goes back to New York Giant days.
So the San Francisco Giants moved out here in 62. 61 or 2. Or excuse me, came here in 58. That's right, late 50s. They played at Seal Stadium.
Yes, they did. Home of the Pacific Coast League San Francisco team.
course, coming out here at the same time the Dodgers did.
Neither ballpark was ready, right? I mean, Candlestick.
Well, that's why the Dodgers played in the Coliseum.
That's where Wally Moon enjoyed his moonshots.
Did you ever see any games at Seals Stadium?
No, I did not. I did not. My first Major League game was across the bay in 1969. And saw a game at Candlestick that year as well. 2-2. Breaking ball missed. And the count full at 3-2. Romo, whose sliders of death served him quite well in his tenure as the Giants closer. He lost that job last year. 43 saves in 2013. 3-2 coming to Yelich. Runners on the move from first and second. And Yelich fouled it back to the screen.
You know, he still has a good slider. Maybe the slider of injury now as opposed to the slider of death. But it's still a good one.
And he's been a Giant for a long time. He got to the big leagues in 2008. And he's one of the guys, as we've talked about, that Brian Sabian, Bobby Evans, and Dick Tidrow have kept in that bullpen intact. Another 3-2. And Yelich tightening it up, fouls it back.
But that is interesting, Rich, when you think about it. They had Brian Wilson, then Romo, then Casilla. So they've managed that closer role during their World Series championships with 3 different guys.
And Romo has gone from outstanding setup guy to closer, now back to setup guy. Whether he can be outstanding again, I guess, is the question. Runners on the move again. 3-2 coming. Strike 3 called. Yelich rung up. But Miami adds a couple and stretches the lead to 6-1. Let's check in with Jessica Blaylock.
Well, Rich, you mentioned this a little bit earlier. A different setup here at AT Park. Relievers and closers actually get to hang out in the dugout with the team, and that's why Steve Cishek says that San Francisco is one of his favorite places to come. He says he has such a good time hanging out in the dugout. You really feel like you get to be part of that team. He said that he loved getting to celebrate Marcell Ozuna's first home run a couple nights ago, and he was in on that celebratory congratulations to Adeiny Echeverria when that play was turned in his favor. So Steve Cishek and some of these other guys having a great time here in this dugout.
Marlins dugout right now. Thank you, Jessica. Filled with relievers Starting pitchers, coaches, seeds, gum,
the whole 9 yards.
Powerade. Here's Angel Pagan. And Brian Morris out of the bullpen. Brian Morris is hopeful that a few days off will do him well. And hit a rough patch. And he comes in here with a 6-1 lead. His ERA up to 4.61. And that's thanks to his last couple of appearances. Rolling out to Solano, and he throws to first in time to get Pagan. MLB.TV Premium is the #1 live streaming sports service, and it's been that way for 13 years. Every out-of-market regular season game is live, or it's on demand in true HD. It also includes a free At-Bat 15 subscription. Watch live baseball on over 400 mobile and connected devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.com for details.
You know, the tough part when a reliever goes through a patch where he struggles. You know, a guy playing every day can go through that. And he's going to get his at-bats all the time. But it's more accentuated with a relief pitcher because he's out there, and in many cases it's a close game. And all of a sudden he has his struggles. Boy, it stands right out. So it's a little frustrating. These guys deal with it. They know what to do.
You know, I said his last two. Actually, his last appearance was that Wednesday in Washington, and he worked a scoreless inning. The bumps in the road were 2 days before that, where he gave up 4 runs. And then the ball game against the Phillies, which he gave up 2 runs in an inning of work. So he's got an out. He's 2-1 on Buster Posey, who's 0 for 3 tonight. Not anymore. Posey a solid single up the middle. Only 2 other games going in Major League Baseball on this Saturday night. Extra innings in Arizona for the Padres and the Snakes. The Diamondbacks and Padres 4-4. Seattle commanding 6-1 lead over Oakland. That's in the 8th inning up at Safeco Field. Santiago Casilla warming up in San Francisco's bullpen.
Did you see the dramatic Logan Morrison walk-off home run last night for Seattle?
Now, we've seen all kinds of walk-off celebrations. The Marlins have the celebratory dunk by D. Gordon. The Nationals have gone to Hershey's syrup. Ugla got a face full of that. Harper got it today. Logan Morrison got the trash dumped on him. I think it was Robinson Cano or Nelson Cruz. I'm not sure which. I have to go back and look at the highlight on that one.
What if it's not trash day?
Would you rather have stinging shaving cream in your eye or trash? Posey is going to take second. Marlins aren't holding him. Now he comes back.
I would choose chocolate syrup.
I'd go with chocolate syrup as well. It's an interesting cat and mouse game there at first. Posey had a huge lead, was going to take second, and then Morris at the last minute dashed towards first. The problem was Morris was right around first when the pitch came to the plate to the lefty hitting Belt. And Morris is going to be a little closer this time. 1-1 for Morris. No swing this time. Belt, a holy terror last night for the Marlins. 0 for 3. He had 6 hits in the first 2 games, 4 of them last night.
Well, working on a 6-game hitting streak.
In that Oakland-Seattle game, it's now 6-2 Seattle in the 8th. Oakland has made 4 errors in the game. So many of you moms, I guess I should say any of you moms who are still up and are headed to a Little League game tomorrow on Mother's Day, it can happen in the big leagues too.
Oh, straight on.
Buster Posey at first. Full count to Brandon Belt. No swing and no call.
So back home it is a happy Mother's Day.
There's your Fox Tracks. It was down late night with the fish, so happy Mother's Day for you moms that are still up. Way to go, Mom. Might as well get to enjoy as much Mother's Day as you can. All kinds of Mother's Day stuff tomorrow. The pink bats will be back, the pink wristbands. Players will be giving the shout outs to their moms.
I think Giancarlo will go with the pink sleeve.
Stanton well over into right center for Maxwell, the Giants right fielder. It's funny, as you pointed out, the Giants are not as aggressive with their right fielder in this ballpark as the Marlins are.
Yeah, every time I've looked up, a few times when Justin Maxwell, San Francisco's right fielder's been out there, he's not as far over, doesn't position himself as far over as Giancarlo does.
And Morris gets a strike. It's 1-2. A look at the distance between Stanton and the right field line. Good number of the 42,000 plus have headed out of here. Morris goes to 2-2. That's one of the things you get with the bullpens here, which are tight and right up in that foul territory area. You get a lot of balls that end up behind the screen. Wrigley Fields and Oakland also have that feature. 2-2.
I was trying to think when we were talking about it earlier. The only ballpark that comes to mind where the bullpen used to hang in the dugout, similar to here, was at the old Astrodome. And they also had the bullpen down the lines. But the relief group, they would hang in the dugout.
That one's backing out of play. It's 2-2. Rally caps, Viking horns. The absence of panda hats has been a shock. You thought there might be a few stragglers left, but
yeah, the panda concession took a real hit.
There's probably a lot of those on eBay right now, hoping that someone in Boston will gobble them up. 2-2. Got him. Perseverance for Brian Morris as he strikes out Justin Maxwell. Second out of the 8th. And here comes Crawford. Checkers is proud to present Marlins Live post-game edition, late night post-game edition. Jessica, Mother's Day in the East, so she'll be on just past 9 o'clock here. The Big Bear, Marcell Ozuna, It's his second homer of the series, and it was a big one. It opened the gate against Madison Bumgarner. Remember, at the outset of the telecast, there's a strike. We showed that Bumgarner resume page, which was abridged because we could have thrown up 2 or 3 pages. They always say make your resume 1 page.
That's true.
But one of the things that wasn't on there is his record against the Marlins. In 5 starts, Bumgarner 1-2 with a 4.34 ERA. And it could be 1-3 before the night is done.
I'm not even sure if the Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year was on that resume, which he also was awarded.
MVP of the NLCS and the World Series, much like Cole Hamels was when the Phillies won theirs. 0-2 on Crawford. Well, it looks like Brian Morris all of a sudden has found it. He had a really nice duel with Maxwell that he won with a strikeout. And he's 0-2 and making good pitches against Crawford.
Well, and that's the other thing about a relief pitcher. He has to find it on the fly. He has to find it in a hurry. And when Brian Morris finds it, he has good stuff. I mean, his fastball is mid to upper 90s. Sharp slider.
Oh-2. Wow. Morris thought
That's
it was
a pretty good pitch right there.
Morris thought it was a strike, and a few other Marlins headed towards the dugout, and it was in. Just in.
Mike Malinsky's had a pretty good night.
He has. Now the 1-2. And he got him there. Real Muto digs it out, tags him out. Brian Morris, a scoreless 8th. Sit down, Viking. You by your South Florida Honda dealers. AT Park all lit up. San Francisco, such a beautiful city, such a beautiful setting, and the Marlins have a 6-1 lead. Santiago Casilla in for some work with the Marlins up by 5. And the Giants have used their bullpen extensively in this one. A 5-inning start from Madison Bumgarner, George Cantos, Javier Lopez, Gene Machi, Sergio Romo, and now Santiago Casilla.
Yeah, obviously because of the way their games have been going, Casilla hasn't had a lot of opportunities. So Bruce Bochy getting him some work tonight.
Martin Prado, Giancarlo Stanton, and Marcell Ozuna. Casilla, the 34-year-old, into right. Maxwell there, and he makes the catch. Last year, Casilla became the setup man early, then he became the closer late. And once he became the closer, he was 17 of 18 in save opportunities once he took over for Sergio Romo.
Well, it was a nice situation for Bruce Bochy when Romo started to struggle, that he had a guy like Casilla around.
Stan has struck out 3 times and walked. And the count's 0-1. You get a sense that there will be an outfielder getting a day off tomorrow, and Ichiro will play against the right-hander.
Yeah, I would think, and this is just a guess, that it would be Christian Yelich coming back with the back issues, having spent time on the disabled list with the day game tomorrow. I would guess Yelich, but we'll have to wait and see.
I don't think it'll be Ozuna, as he's homered twice in the series. You never know, might be Stanton too. That's the luxury of having an Ichiro around. 1-2. It's really fun to watch. Ichiro is right in the middle of everything. And to be honest with you, Tommy, that wasn't the case in Seattle when he arrived in 2001. He was new to the country.
It was a whole different experience for him.
New to the language. He was a superstar, of which big things were expected. He obviously delivered. But now he's much more relaxed. He is on a very young team at 41. Acts and looks like a very young player again.
Well, when you're 41, any team's a young team that you're on.
That's true, but there, you know what I'm saying, there aren't a lot of 32, 33-year-old veterans that he can hang out with. He's spending most of his time with Ozuna.
It's fun to watch those two guys interact.
Yeah, the one thing I saw yesterday from Ozuna, which was rather entertaining, Ichiro's been teaching him Japanese and started in spring training. Stanton takes outside. I saw Ozuna yesterday go up to some of the Japanese reporters and was trying out some of those words on them. Stanton will get a 3-2 pitch. And he swings and misses. And so Stanton has struck out 4 times tonight. And here is Ozuna.
Giancarlo 0 for 4 last night with 2 strikeouts.
Now, Ozuna had 2 hits, but one of those was taken back. He originally got an infield hit in the 8th on that little tapper that Machi threw to Panic instead of Crawford, and Panic was behind second.
I think that could have gone either way.
I'm with you. He was hit hard. He knocked it down, scrambled to get it.
So you have to ask yourself, would he have been able to scramble, get it, throw to first base the way he threw to second base?
2-1. Casilla doesn't look A, real comfortable, B, in much of a hurry.
I think it's interesting. He's one of the relievers. He gives a little hesitation when you watch him work. But when he sets and he gets ready to deliver, there's kind of a little pause as he gets that leg up there. Right there.
Wow. That one comes in, almost clips Ozuna. So far, Major League Baseball has been pretty pleased with time of game, pace of play, to the extent, from what I have read, that instead of starting to fine players as they had planned to do once the month of May rolled around, they're still not fining players for violating pace of play mandates, because everyone seems to be, in the spirit of the rule, trying to play nice.
And I think the numbers prove that. Time of game is down from last year.
Well, the Giants have gotten just about every reliever they have up in this game.
This game isn't going to help that time of game thing.
No, I mean, it's, to me, here's the 1-0. It's really hard to judge pace of play just on time of game.
Yes, because it really is more about pace of play,
right?
Not the time of the game.
I think to truly judge that, you've got to watch the game or be at the game and just see how quickly it's played.
And I think when you have, obviously, when you have two pitchers going at it that each goes 7-8 innings, it's going to be a lot different pace and a lot different time than if you have a game played where each team uses 3 or 4 guys out of the bullpen.
Realmuto pops it foul. JT still doesn't have a hit in this series. He's had, as we've pointed out, some good at-bats. Tonight he has struck out twice. He's walked and scored, has a sacrifice bunt. Crowd trying to get Casilla through this batter here. Realmuto pops it foul and out of play. Two. It's in the dirt. It's the 9th here in San Francisco on a Saturday night. And if you're a Bird, this is where you want to be, because in a moment these fans will be out of here. There'll be hot dogs.
So they even know when it's a 6 o'clock local start as opposed to a 7 o'clock.
Popcorn. If you wanted to really find out about pace of play, I would think just ask a Bird, because they know exactly when the game gets to about the 8th and the crowd starts to thin. They probably know the score too. They know that the Giants are down 5. Realmuto swings and misses, and Casilla strikes him out on to the bottom of the 9th. Dinner is awaiting. 6-1 Marlins. for the hometown Giants. Miami captured game 1 of this series. The Giants winners last night. Casey McGee, a grand slam, helped get the Giants out front and bring home a win. Tonight, the Marlins got 3 runs off of Madison Bumgarner. He lasted just 5 innings. And it's a 6-1 game here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Brian Morris against Casey McGee.
Yes, we've talked about it. It was kind of an interesting outing for Bumgarner in the 5 innings. He gave up 5 hits. 3 of the hits in that 4th inning. All the runs came in the 4th inning. He had 10 strikeouts.
Now, in game 1 of the series, Dan Herron was brilliant, and Miami won it 7-2. The Giants 6-0 last night. Steve Cishek an inning last night, but no Cishek tonight, or at least not yet. Marlins are hopeful that Brian Morris can keep Cishek seated, and he'll be available tomorrow. You would think Morris, now that he's up close to 30 pitches, might not be available if he goes 2 innings here. Fastball up. AJ Ramos pitched the 7th. David Phelps outstanding again. Phelps has really shined in his 5 starts with Miami. His ERA under 2. There's tomorrow's matchup. 3:30 start for Marlins Live. McGee fouls it back.
Yeah, he'll run his record to 2-0. David Phelps will.
Two to McGee. Fouls it at the plate. Casey McGee last night, a dramatic night. He gets the Comeback Player of the Year awards. Slumping. He didn't play in the first game against his former team. But not only did he play last night, he really hurt the fish with the grand slam and a base hit. But tonight, David Phelps and AJ Ramos have handled him. He's 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. And he punches out again. So 1 out, and here is Matt Duffy now for the Giants. Duffy, who underwent a transformation yesterday, he changed his number. He actually went down to single digit to 5. He was 50, and that now he looks more like a regular player, right?
Yeah, I think he feels a little more comfortable in his position. You like to hear how that took place, how that transition took place. You know, is his agent called, maybe? You know, Matt's thinking about changing numbers.
On a hop, and it gets by Echeverria. That was smoked. Duffy's got himself a hit.
And wearing number 5 now, I have to swing the bat.
Like Johnny Bench.
Like I'm wearing number 5. That ball, nasty hop, as you pointed out, over the shoulder of Echeverria.
Do you think an agent, I mean, I don't know, but you're right. It's been interesting to see how they facilitate that.
Obviously, he may have presented it to his agent, but may have felt uncomfortable talking to the club. So you call him.
No, you call him. You're right, because Duffy certainly is not cemented in this 25-man roster. obviously, a lot of guys, when they get to the big leagues, are wearing numbers that they don't end up in because they're just happy to be here. As well, you've got a franchise that has a pretty good number of retired numbers, right?
I mean, he's fortunate number 5's available. Mays, Marichal.
Giant retired numbers. All the way back into the New York Giants, and even before they had numbers. Aoki. Ozuna runs it down. And Brian Morris has the second out of this 9th inning.
Yeah, we were looking at those numbers. Gaylord Perry, McCovey. See, they had a lot of guys that didn't have the single digits, though, like the Yankees. You always remember 44 for McCovey.
Joe Panik up right now. Mel Ott was number 4. Bill Terry number 3.
Carl Hubble, number 11.
We saw Christy Mathewson and John McGraw. Runner goes, but Marlins will allow him second on defensive indifference. Orlando Cepeda number 30. Perry was 36. Monty Irvin. Now that's the 20 I couldn't. Monty Irvin was number 20. He was a World Series hero for the Giants. That one is down the line, and Joe Panik not ready to go home yet. Scoring is Duffy, and it's 6-2.
Yeah, just thinking about it, those two guys between Duffy and Panik, they kind of epitomize the type of player that Bruce Bochy likes to have. They're a couple of gamers, and they produce a run here in this 9th inning.
Now here is Pagan. Mike Dunn starts to loosen up in the Marlins bullpen. There's a bouncer. Mike Dunn can sit down. That's the ball game. Marlins win it. Impressively, they hang a loss on Madison Bumgarner. And the Fish beat the Giants 6-2 tonight. Brian Morris finishes with 2 innings. In relief of A.J. Ramos, David Phelps continues to shine as a starter. And in 3 hours and 24 minutes, the Marlins beat the Giants. Marlins Live is right around the bend.